Hey there, welcome to UNWOMANLY, the podcast where taboo topics are never off the table and discussions with an open mind and dirty mouth are always encouraged. My name is Jen Danczak, and I'm recording in West Hollywood, California, in my apartment, as always, sitting across from a vastly talented woman who is one hell of a musician. Please welcome the Sarah Lightman.
Hi.
Welcome to UNWOMANLY, babe, on such a rainy day.
I know. I was going to say, you have such a good voice for podcast radio.
Oh, thanks, babe. Even though it's all allergies up right now.
It's working for you. I was like, oh, she sounds good.
You're so nice, girl. I'll take it. I'm so happy you're here in town again.
Yeah.
Straight from Nashville, guys.
Yeah. So I live in Nashville. I moved from LA. I lived in LA for 8 years. I've been in Nashville a year, and it's been great. I really like it so far.
That's so awesome, babe. I know my brother and his fiance are out there.
Nice.
Can't wait to come visit you guys sometime.
Yes, come out.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, it's kind of really, really cold right now, but eventually, I think.
Chilly.
Yeah, a little chilly.
A little chill.
I mean, you literally went from chilly to chilly, so you're
Yeah. I went
not
from
much
80
better
to
over
20,
here.
80,
Yeah.
and then 20 to 40.
And then over here, this weather is up and down as well, like 40 to 70, and it's messing with my nose and everything. So,
Oh, yeah.
hell yeah.
The allergies are real.
I know. And then as a singer and songwriter, as you are, and I'm trying to be, like, it's not very fun to go through all of that. Like, Do you have a lot of allergy issues?
I've actually, so yes and no. I have had allergy immunization. It's when you take shots.
Girl, I was looking into that.
Yeah, and it really does help. I couldn't breathe out of my nose at some point when I was living in LA. And then I started doing them, and over the months, I could breathe easier and easier. But it's not 100%. I still get, like, certain, like, itchy throat, nose things when there's, like, mold and rain and when certain things are very, very high. But most of my symptoms, I would say, are gone. So
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
yeah. And then, like, you know, it said I was allergic to cats and dogs, and I have cats. But, like, you know, there's ways around it. So
Yeah.
I do okay.
You're doing okay in a dog-filled house, so that's good.
Yeah.
But Sarah and I met. We went through, like, kind of mutual friends, like doing a little delivery service that we won't name. Good times.
It helped me pay off my monies to finish an album.
Yes.
And,
sometimes that's what you got to do.
people don't know about that because it's, you know, a little taboo.
Yeah, the little odd jobs, you know, around.
I just said that I did street performing. I did. I mostly did do a lot of street performing and gigging, but I needed, like, extra money because I was paying for both, you know, my bills and my projects.
Right,
So
right.
it's like,
And
it helped, though. It helped.
Good. Yeah. Oh, good times. That was so neat. That was, like, what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Oh, man, I don't even know.
2004.
Really?
4.
2004, guys.
That was 2019.
4 years. Oh, okay. Damn, that was so long. Holy shit. Yeah. So, I mean, I just, like, clicked with you, and I was like, this girl's so nice and so sweet and surrounded by a bunch of weird people, but you stuck out as, like, one of the genuine ones. Oh, yeah, for sure, babe. I mean, tell everybody about you, because you're originally from New Jersey. Yeah. She's a Jersey girl, y'all.
Hightstown, East Windsor, it's central. It's like 20 minutes from Princeton. That's what I say because no one knows what town that is. So it's like an hour from New York, an hour from Philly.
Wow.
I'm kind of in the middle. My parents picked that purposely. Yeah, so I lived there growing up, and then I could not wait to leave. When I reached college, I was like, get me out of here. I want a bigger town, a small town, you know. I wanted to see the world. I just wanted something different. And so I moved to Philadelphia for school, graduated from college, then went out to LA, just, you know, following connections and just knowing that, like, I knew that if I didn't do it, I'd always have that regret. So I flew out to LA blindly. The only plan I made was to make sure I had a job. I was working at Starbucks, so I transferred to another Starbucks. So I had at least one job. Not enough money, but one job to, like, get me started. I ended up working, like, 3 jobs. But, like, I should probably not hit your because it's making noise.
You're great, babe. Who cares?
It's a really great, like, pillow. Just I'm petting it.
As long as you're comfortable.
It is very comfy. I love this. Backtracking. So I moved to LA blindly. All I had was money and a job and a couple places to maybe live. I picked a place to live. It wasn't good, but I sucked it up and dealt with it for a minute. So I did that. And then, I was in LA for like 8 years. At the time I was acting, and I was just trying to figure out my path, because I graduated school with a theater degree and concentrated in musical theater because I thought, I'm just going to do musicals because I really like this and this and this and this. And then, I realized I didn't like the politics and the clickiness that I didn't know came with theater, because I thought theater was supposed to be one of the most accepting places because they market it like that. But it's unfortunately, the hard truth is it's not like that.
Right.
It's supposed to be, art, you would think, but it wasn't. And so, I came out of college not feeling like I got what I wanted. And, that's okay though, because it's a learning curve. And so yeah, I did a lot of film and acting because that was what was available in college. So I decided to do that. So all my connections went to LA and all this stuff, and like personal decisions involved too. And so I was like, you know what, maybe LA would be like a good idea. So I did it. I took the giant leap and moved out to LA, and like it was just kind of a whirlwind of like lots of things falling apart as I did it, but I made it work. And
I had no clue you started with with acting in mind.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I mean, like, I always knew that I loved singing. It was just like, how and where do I fit and what do I want to do? And I did write songs and really loved all that, but it's hard to find like your path and your purpose when you like so many things, and you love singing, but like, where do you fit? And where do you feel like you belong the best? And so when I went to out to LA, like, it was rough. I was adulting and trying to figure it out, and not with a very emotionally stable roommate. And I feel like I couldn't breathe. I was just walking on eggshells all the time, and then working at Starbucks, and got my first restaurant job. And it all came together slowly, but it was just super, just all over the place and rocky, which makes sense. It's your early 20s. You're figuring out your life. And
yeah.
So, I mean, when are you not? But,
right. Still. In our 30s.
Right. Right, yeah. Anyway, it's the new 20. 30's the new 20,
It is the new 20.
It's the new 20.
That's what they all say.
Dirty 30, like, I think it's flirty 30.
It should be flirty 30.
So, I was figuring that out, and then I started writing again. I started getting inspired once I had kind of gone through that period of just feeling a lot of things and settling, and because a lot of people get inspired when they're actors to go see this or do that or learn a monologue. I was like, I want to write a song.
Yes.
I remember being in a theater school, even like back in college, and we would talk about the song, and I was like, did you feel that lyric? Like, I felt it so much. And they were like, I don't understand what you're talking about. Clearly, I was in the wrong career.
Yes, you were, babe.
Yeah, and that's when it started to tap into me again, and I started getting offers for acting roles when you go audition, and some of them were for singing, some of them were not, and I think that's what kind of brought me back to it and brought me back into the songwriting. And then when I started writing again, because I was in high school, I would write, but I wouldn't write a melody. I was so hard on myself, so it couldn't come out. And so this is the first time where everything was pouring out, and finally I was like, wait a minute, this has been here the whole time.
Yeah.
And so I started getting back into it, and then did like a vlog at one point to just create I was like dating this dude who was like very not healthy. But the one thing I got, because there's always something positive you get out of every experience and learning curve. So
very true.
Other than learning the signs, I got, he was like saying, because he was also in entertainment, and he was like, oh, when you're not getting work, you need to make work for yourself on the side. And I didn't know that. I was trying to figure things out, and he's like, oh yeah, that's like a good idea. So I made a vlog. I was like, well, I could do that.
Yeah.
Like, these are my resources. So I made a vlog, and I wrote about adulting, because that's what I was feeling very much at the time. And so I called it like the adulting pains. You can't watch them anymore.
Oh no.
They're unseen on YouTube. But you know what? I can make it available for everybody on my Patreon. You can.
Oh, there you go.
You can if you bug me on Patreon, I will give you access to maybe one or two of the like not public,
like unlisted.
Unlisted.
Yes.
That's the word. Yeah. So, and there, I was figuring out my sound and stuff, but every week I would challenge myself to just come out with something and write something. And so there was this song Fear that I wrote, and that was like, you know, the first like song. Like there were other songs too, but I'd have to go back and listen and be like, oh, I wrote that. Like, yeah. But that one like was the one that kind of stuck. And so then like I had met this dude that I dated for a long time. And it was serious, and he was like, oh, I'd love to like produce that song. And I was like, yeah, you're crazy, whatever. He's like, no, I think we should try it. Have you ever? I'm like, no, I haven't really produced a song. I mean, I've done this, but I haven't done that. And so that kind of like sparked, and then I was doing it, and I was like, you know what? I'd like to do more of this. I think I want to make an EP. So like,
nice.
So it turned into that. And then I realized, you know what? I love music way more than I love acting. And people are always quick to make that judgment of, oh, you just could, it's a hard job and rejection. I was like, no, I wanted to say what I wanted to say, and I didn't want to deal with the BS roles.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't want to deal with the bureaucracy of, you know, as much as, you know, the unions and stuff can be great, there were also a lot of downsides I didn't like about it. And so I felt this freedom and control over like my dreams in a different way, and I just felt more joy when I was singing and writing my own songs. So
that's awesome.
Kept following that, and now I'm in Nashville.
Right? Honestly, I mean, do you think that when you wrote Fear that was really the pivotal moment of like really taking it like seriously as like a potential career for yourself?
No. I just knew that I was just following. You know, when like you're in the unknown and you feel enough desire about something that you want to follow it, and it's terrifying. Are we allowed to curse on this show?
Oh, hell yeah, okay. Girl.
I'm very clean with my community.
You're hilarious.
But if I'm on someone else's, I'm like, you know what? I'll break it a little. Yeah. But yeah, like it's just I'm just. It will probably come up. But it's funny. My streaming community on Twitch we talk about like they're called the Lighthouse. I mean, I call my fan base at this point the Lighthouse.
I love that.
But yeah, I didn't come up with the idea. But like, but I kept it. It was a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, and they make these jokes like, oh, my eyes, Sarah's cursed. Because I'm so clean and family friendly. But I'm starting to break that rule. There's a song I could play you at some point that I just wrote it not long ago, and it's my first song with a curse word.
Oh my God.
I know, it's like I'm growing up.
Yes, you are, girl. I know it was like such a huge moment when Taylor Swift finally swore in her song. Right,
so. It's unwomanly.
It is so unwomanly to swear.
Like, it's very on brand for you.
I know, right? Oh, good for you, girl. Which word was it?
Bitch.
Oh, hell yeah. That's
it's called so the line is, I'm a badass boss bitch with star appeal.
Ooh, yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I think my last episode was
sorry, without the I'm. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no, you're great.
A badass boss bitch with star appeal.
I like that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Now I'm going to be looking out for that lyric.
Oh, yeah.
I remember you telling me when we first met, you were like, I purposefully knew like I was gonna take this seriously, so I was like, I'm not working in a restaurant anymore. I'm throwing out my aprons. I remember that. That's stuck in my. Oh, you really have one?
I stole my Starbucks apron on my last day when I was in my early 20s.
Oh my God! Did it have your name on it? Because that would be kind of cute. Oh,
no, they give you like a name tag and then you write on it with like a little white marker. No, they're not.
Because I was gonna say if it's like embroidered, that makes sense.
I have an embroidered YouTube Shorts jacket. Ooh. I was a guinea pig for them.
Oh,
that's what it.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Shit. But yeah, like I just like knew, I was like, that always stuck in my head. I don't know why. I was like, I want to get to that point of throwing out my aprons, of knowing I'm never going back to that restaurant.
And it's like, even if you don't know and it's scary, it's like the thing is that you focus on what you want. And so sometimes you do need to do the things in order to get there. But there comes a point where you're just like, fuck it, I don't want to rely on this anymore. Yeah. You slowly work towards that. Sometimes it's just a giant leap of faith and it's messy. And sometimes you work towards it gradually, like I did at the time. But yeah, no, I was just like, no more of this, no more of that. Right. I mean, sometimes I still walk a dog here and there. But it's therapeutic.
Yeah. You know? That is true. That is very cute. I used to walk dogs back in the day. That was fun too.
You walk a dog now?
I walk two. Well, one and a half.
1.5. She's so tiny.
I know. Speaking of going back to Taylor Swift a little bit, LOL.
I know. You taught me to like her.
Oh, did I really?
A little bit. But you know what really taught me to like, I was watching her documentaries and I really just gained respect for her because, you know, she was marketed in such a way that just didn't feel very authentic. And then when she started coming out more out of her shell, I was like, I respect that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Same thing with Lady Gaga, you know?
Oh, yeah. But I do know, like, I was looking up some stuff, and is there something about a freaking proposal in Taylor Swift that you did that you helped out with?
Okay, so
I gotta hear about this.
She wasn't there. So basically, I was hired to do a gig, and it was what you call a telegram. And so I was hired to do a gig, and this guy was like, hey, you know, like, okay, so this is what I'm thinking. I want to propose to my fiance now fiance, my girlfriend. And, you know, like, she really likes Taylor Swift, but she also wrote the song, but I think that's a really personal song for me. And I said, you know, I'm going to go with your gut. Let's do some Taylor Swift. So, like, what are you thinking? So he gave me 2 songs, and I said I could only do, like, 2 because we're literally a week out.
Yeah.
And it's going to... And also, like, you know, rate-wise and stuff and distance. So we worked out everything. And so he did a surprise proposal. And it was just so funny. The way... it was this, like, little tiny neighborhood in Tennessee, probably about 45 to an hour outside of Nashville. And I showed up with my amp. And he's like, well, I was thinking you could be, like, you know... maybe like a surprise and you hop out. And so I decided to be a street performer. I mean, I did start as a street performer here in LA. Mm-hmm. And I there was no cell phone service. So I just figured I'll just pretend I'm part of the scene. And then when they come through, and then when he like disappears and stuff and does the thing, because there was also no service. So that was hard too. No. So I had to just sort of guess. And luckily there was a photographer, and we were like, are you here for the... Yeah, we are. So surprise proposal. So I learned Willow and Paper Rings.
Okay.
Great songs. Paper Rings is so fun.
Of course, Paper Rings.
Like,
I like that one.
I want someone to be that song for me. Like, it's, like that's what I want.
Yeah.
Like, it's even though she's never been married, she has such a great poetic way of like talking about what it means to have like a really good companion.
Yeah.
And partner.
Yeah.
And so yeah, which is great. And so I set up my stuff and like pretended I was street performing, and people started tipping me. I'm like, great, this is perfect. But I was a little too believable. Ooh. So the plan was he was gonna go off and get a white horse and then ride back on a horse.
No way.
And then propose. Yeah, no, dead serious. Dead
That's
serious.
so cute.
And so she's sitting behind on the bench. And so he disappears. So I start to play the song. I start playing Willow. I'm like a na 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 na. I don't want to, you know, get you in trouble. So I'm gonna sing it. And so and then so I was like, hey, I have a couple requests. I hope everybody likes Taylor Swift. And she put her thumb up. She's like, thumbs up. And then and I was like, awesome, she likes Taylor Swift, I'm gonna play it. And then what would have been better is if I said I have 2 requests from her fiance's name, because it was such a I think it was like a Middle Eastern name. I don't know exactly, but it wasn't like not everybody would have that name. It was different. And so I just want to protect their privacy, so I don't want to say the name on here.
Sure.
Just in case they stumble upon the episode. So that would have been the better way, because she thought I was just street performing. And so he comes out on a horse, and then she also didn't have cell phone service. He didn't. So there was a lot of like, she's like, where did he go? And like, why is he taking so long? So he comes back on the horse, and someone's like escorting him, and she's walking towards him. Like, she's like, what's going on?
Oh
and then
God.
She's like, wait, are you proposing? And so like, she just didn't get it. And it was
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was just one of those.
By the way, A White Horse is a Taylor Swift song. So it's huge,
that's perfect.
You know,
yeah. And I was telling him to take her to a Taylor Swift concert because she's really great with her fans. I've seen her in her videos and stuff. So yeah, that's how that went. And then of course she said yes, and it was sweet, but like it was just like a little bit, you know, not as organized.
Yeah.
Because of it. And you know, he had me get her flowers, to hand her flowers, and it was very sweet. But because of that, it just wasn't like, you know, a Hollywood moment.
Right. I mean, hey. That's so sweet.
So, I actually saw Taylor Swift in person at the NSAI Awards. She accepted her award for being like, I think it was like I forget what the award was. You'd have to like kind of go through her socials to remember what it was called, but it was like the best songwriter in 10 years or like it was like a songwriting tribute. It was like a big deal award. And we were like, oh, we'll see if she shows up, and she did. She came out. She was wearing this beautiful sequin dress, and then she sang us all Too Well. All Too Well, yes. The 9-minute version.
10-minute version.
Everybody said, or however much it was.
The outro was like 2 minutes long. That's
so long, but it was worth it. And she was so eloquent with her words in her speech and the way she interacted with the fans that showed up. It was just a really great moment. And so, so I saw her in person. Now you can be jealous.
Oh, well, I mean, I saw her Reputation tour, and then I also saw her for Jingle Ball, but not in a small capacity like
I was like maybe 200 feet from her. So
that's so wild.
Yeah, it sounded great, you know.
And do they go gung-ho about her over in Nashville?
Oh, they love her.
Yeah?
They love her. I mean, there are definitely people that aren't Swifties, as they call it. But there are definitely some people that throw shade. But yeah, no, as a whole, though, the community loves her, you know?
Yeah.
So,
it's so interesting what she's done for pop music. And honestly, what you can do for pop music, too, by bringing, like, your little soulful voice to it.
Yeah.
I know you are known for your uniquely soulful voice. And it's definitely very smooth. And I love that everyone says that. I'm excited to see what you can do. And I mean, you already have such an incredible album out called Interlude, right?
Yeah, 2019.
2019.
End of 2019 when it came out.
Oh, okay.
So it was right before the pandemic.
Yeah. So, like, how did that come about? How long did it take you to write that album? Or was it just a bunch of your little songs that you were like, you know what, I'm releasing as an album?
So, great question. I just decided I'm going to challenge myself and put out an album.
Yes.
I did the EP, and then I did a single, and I was like, you know what? This could be part of the album.
When did you do the EP again?
So, the EP was 2016 or 17.
Okay.
One of those.
Yeah.
And so, a long time ago, feels like ages ago, but, yeah, and so that's when I put that, and I was still very much figuring out my sound. Even in Interlude, there were still like moments where I'm like, I was still really figuring some things out.
Yeah.
Which is you always are, but like just like my voice and like style and like how I was delivering certain things definitely was more figured out on Interlude and have found my identity at least, but how to like let it come out of me and have my truth be aligned with me was a whole nother thing. And because I definitely had an idea and I like knew myself, but there were other things at play that were just sort of not only holding me back, but just sort of keeping me a little bit in doubt and in question of like, it's just like, you know, it's just a part of being human. So you
have to like get past that hump of like, listen.
Of like, I'm gonna tell my truth and you're gonna take it or you're not, but I'm not gonna people please you. And like, it's a thing, especially as like a woman that we go through. I mean, we all do, like every human, but you know, we if you're a woman, if you're a non-binary, a minority of some sort, you know, racial things, there's a different level of oppression involved. I think everybody's oppressed for sure. It's the system, but like, but I think that it's just different, you know, it's a whole nother level. So I think there was a little bit of that going on. But yeah, no, when I did the first, if you listen to my EP, it's like all over the map. There's like Paramore vibes, and then there's like jazz vibes, and then it's like, you know, it's like its own musical, and then and then there's like pop rock vibes, which feels like pop rock because it's like the closest, probably the closest.
Yeah.
And then there was like a pop country. I didn't mean to write country, it just happened. I'll probably sell it to Rascal Flatts. It's fine. Yeah, eventually.
Love that.
Yeah, but it's just what came out of it, and people liked it. I mean, musicians most of them have ADHD, so why not, you know, it goes into the writing, it's fine.
Absolutely.
So yeah, when I was done with that, I was just like, yeah, no, I'm gonna do an album next. Let's just do it. I want to keep growing and all this stuff. And so I already had home, so I knew that I was going to be on it. And then I just started writing ideas. So yeah, no, I was writing as I was recording it. And
that's so great.
And then towards the end of 2018, my friend Trevin, I met him really randomly, and then I was like, we worked out like this like deal where I was like, hey, if I help you and you help me, it was like a very Hollywood moment where he like stayed on my couch and like, and I was like, hey, so I I feel like you might be really great to write with. I'll let you stay on my couch while you're figuring out your stuff if you help me write my album, and I'll throw in some meals. And he's like, perfect, awesome. So it's like
I love that
we were doing, and so we didn't even have to go very far. We wrote 3 songs together. Very I Can't Be, All Right, and So Good. So those were the last songs to be added to the album, and they were great. They were bangers.
That's crazy because All Right is probably one of my absolute favorites.
Yeah,
that you've
it's
done.
great.
It is so good.
Yeah, it actually sounds different. I could play you a little bit of the.
Ooh.
I sent it to him yesterday actually it was from the first writing session because it sounds different, and we were talking about how like we wish some of the stuff that we incorporated in our writing sessions were just a little bit more involved, but we could always just maybe we'll release another version in the future,
right?
But we were talking about that because there was just something special. So like I'll play it for you.
Sure.
So this is from 2018.
Wow.
Yeah.
Only 2 bags packed, heading from Philly on a plane to LA. Feeling kinda silly as I'm holding back the tears. I haven't cried.
So that's Trevin in the background.
Just days ago, lost my housing situation and I'm single now. From our last conversation, I'd be breaking down. I gotta stay strong. Slowly descending, the clouds greet as we touch down. Anxiously waiting to meet you. Staring face to face with the city. Your mountain tops are looking oh so pretty, and the palm trees swaying to the night. Reminds me I'm gonna be alright, no matter how much I cry. You lift me up with every city light and feed our dreams so I can fight. Thanks to you, gonna be alright. I'm gonna be alright.
Like, how can you not love that song?
Yeah.
Like, it's so hopeful. Like,
yeah.
You were probably a little defeated. Like,
super dark.
Yeah.
I was crying every day, and I was like, crying at the universe, like, fix it. And like, that's not how it works.
Universe is like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, you're like, that's not how that works. Bitch, please.
Oh my god.
The universe is like, I'm gonna put you on hold, okay?
Yeah.
You get in line.
It's so
I thought
good.
you think you can control that stuff.
Right.
Like if I just cry hard enough and complain hard enough, you'll just
right.
And then like the universe is like, nah, you don't know. You're gonna come to the other side of this, and you're gonna know that what I have done for you and put you in the corner has like been good for you.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my gosh. And then that song is so relatable to literally anybody that has moved out here, really.
Yeah.
You know, you're leaving behind
It's about
your
my move to LA.
Yeah.
But I mean, anyone in any town can,
Yeah.
any big move or like, but especially LA because it's just a whole another animal here.
Oh my God. Oh yeah.
Something
absolutely.
crazy always just happens when you like move here. I don't know. It's just, even when I just came to travel here, like all the things I've been through in the past 48 hours of just coming here. Like LA was like, fuck you for leaving. Here's a pile of shit.
Yeah. Here's all the rain for you as well.
Yeah, here's the rain.
Did you ever get writer's block when you were working with him?
Oh, all the time.
How do you get past that stuff?
A lot of it is just, this is going to sound like very mental health, but it's just giving yourself like grace to be like, that's okay. I'm going to write from where I'm at. And then some days to accept that, you're human and don't force it.
Right.
Like let yourself go from where you are and get what you can, but don't feel like you have to like, pull like, like the next thing out of you. You just let it flow. And if it's not ready to flow, I didn't write for a lot when I moved to Nashville. I kind of got inspired for a second, but between that time, like I was not very inspired. Like if you go through my TikTok of my 30-day songwriting challenge, that's not a 30-day songwriting challenge, took a whole year.
Oh my God, that's so fun.
Yeah.
Though.
So like and I also like I challenged myself to basically be a machine, which was, I realized that I'm not. I just wanted to write more. I would hear about other artists saying to write more and work hard, but it looks different for everybody. And I think that's kind of the thing. When you remove that expectation of what it's supposed to look like as opposed to what works for you, I think that's when you really start to like get somewhere.
I like that because we were honestly kind of conditioned.
We're conditioned.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like we're supposed to be workhorses. Every single day we're supposed to be on our A game.
And like, and then I feel guilty. Like, I haven't been doing enough today. I need to be doing more. I see someone else getting ahead. I'm like, why aren't I doing that? Or I'm not working hard enough on this. When it's like literally I'm doing the best that I can.
Right. No,
so
absolutely.
all you can do is the best you can. If that's not good enough for you or someone, like that's not okay.
No. Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I'm glad you actually brought up like the mental health stuff because I know you're kind of like a mental health advocate with your music.
Through my music. Yeah. Yes. I just like to, I mean, we kind of all are. Every artist writes about their pain or whatever they're going through. And it's all, that's how we process our stuff, our emotions, whatever. I probably need to write a lot more, honestly. But for me, I really try to write about the relationship with the self versus the relationship with others. I think, there are songs that I do write about because mental health is about taking care of yourself and how, like, to love yourself so you can love other people, to fill your cup up. Or how am I filling my cup? Does my cup have holes in it? Do I need to get a new cup? Like, how does that work? Do I need to supersize my cup? I need to size up.
Oh my God.
Do I need to decorate it? So like, is
it going to be a sparkly rhinestone one?
So I write about the relationship to the self and loving the self more than the external because I think it's more important and there is a lot of that coming out right now, but there's not enough of it, and not enough of it, in my opinion, written in a way that is really beneficial to others. It's all relative, but I, really try to share what I've been through to help other people, and hopefully it helps someone who might need to hear something that maybe if they didn't hear it, maybe they wouldn't be as well off. Or it is sometimes honestly is for me too. If I go back and I'm like, wow, I wrote that.
Yeah, and all those memories flood
or like
back.
Thanks me, I really needed to hear that.
Yes.
It's just like it's like cathartic, but it's also a way so people know that they're not alone and they feel a sense of belonging, and so to help people heal, but not save them. I don't want to save people. That's just, but like,
I get that. Yeah.
But like, if I could just help somebody, like, so how I would have wanted that help because my needs were neglected or I felt abandoned or whatever it was. I would want them to have a better time than I did. And I don't want to save anybody from their pain. I think pain is, the thing that helps us grow. But if someone could feel like, they have someone to just like know that they have a hand to hold while they go through it, not like be babied, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like they have someone to just like have an outlet to like a bestie or something when I didn't feel like I had that.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I feel like I do it. And that's what kind of is what has kept me going this long and through all the stuff I've been through.
Right.
So
tell me more about it though. Like where do you think it all began for your inspiration for your songs and your journey to self-love?
I had just gotten through that whole period of moving to LA and adulting and then dealing with healing from a breakup, and it was very unhealthy, but I was also very unhealthy, and you just like learn like, wow, I need like a reality check. So I'd gotten through that and realized that I hadn't really been to therapy in a long time at that point, but that there was this fear, this anxiety, and it was like, realizing that I got to the other side for the first time on my own, even though it took a long ass time. And and I was like, and it feels great once you do
it yourself. Absolutely.
Once you do it, even if it might take a lifetime, it feels like it feels long. You do it, you get to the other side, and you're like, wow, like I see the inside of that, and I'm on the other side of that, and I see you, and like, wow, if I could do that, that means I can always do it.
We are powerful.
We can do it. Like, it's just like I never did it. Now I did it. So that means that I'm going to get past all of it.
Yes.
I can get through all the hard days. I can get through all the hard moments, even when I don't want to, even when I feel like I'm going to die. I'm not going to die. That's what it feels like. It's like yourself is you're just shedding. You're just shedding some shit. Like a snake or something. I am a snake in the Chinese New Year, so I guess that's relevant.
Oh, okay.
I'm not Chinese, but that's just, you learn that stuff with the New Year stuff.
What the hell am I?
I don't know. What year were you born?
91.
Oh, I don't know.
What the hell am I? Oh, I'm going to look this up
Google
immediately.
it. So, yeah, Sagittarius and a snake is me. But I'm on the cusp of, like, Capricorn, so who knows?
You're of the goat. Bitch, I'm the goat.
You're a goat?
I am the goat.
Does that mean you bring the milk?
I don't know. Goat's milk. That's hot. But I do know, like, I mean, not to bring up any like sore subjects, but I know you have been through a lot. Like you've had your childhood
so
trauma.
Much.
And like
I feel like I'm a 50-year-old with the life experience that I've had.
I know. And then you were close with your dad, right?
Yeah.
And then he passed away, and that how much did that impact your music, you think?
I was 14, and like he was just starting to sort of mentor me a little bit to like break into like choosing the path. And yeah, I was like, your superhero like dies. Like, what the heck? And it was very like sudden. Like he had health issues, but he didn't die from a health issue.
Aw.
He had like an accident. He had a brain aneurysm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was in a car accident. Yeah. So
and
I'm
he
so
had sorry.
Thanks. So he had kidney disease growing up, and so it was the time where he needed a new kidney, so he went to go get dialysis, and there was a snowstorm, and so he got into an accident. He was okay, but he hit his head pretty badly. And so we think maybe a combination of the dialysis, the meds, and the impact over time, the brain aneurysm, brain aneurysm happened, and words,
English,
they happen, is what kind of ultimately, led to his passing. He just like went into a coma and he never woke up. So it was like a goodbye, but I never got to hear that validation back, which makes sense. Like, the wounds of like when you don't get your needs met because you don't hear it. And so, even talking about it right now is like very healing to even say that. It's just like it makes sense, like why when something isn't reciprocated back at me, or maybe not in the way that I expected it to be, or whatever, brings that root up. And so when he passed, like, it was hard on the family, and like I was just, I was 14, so barely aware of the world, and like learning relationships and all that stuff while being in school. And like school, like it's hard. Like you get bullied. I was definitely bullied, like from both genders. Non-binary wasn't a thing then,
right?
So you're still figuring out that stuff, I guess. Nobody non-binary that I know of bothered me, but I was bullied for sure, like a lot. And so it was difficult, but and it influenced my relationships, the loss of my dad, all that stuff. So for part of me just didn't feel worthy of like, having healthy friendships, having healthy relationships. And it influenced a lot of my decisions until I was able to really learn that self-awareness and look at myself. And I had to like do some really intensive work that I did during the pandemic that ultimately brought me out of it. I had to go into the subconscious.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is different than conscious just talk therapy. It's different.
Interesting.
Yeah, your brain
I need
changes.
to look into this.
Your brain changes.
Oh my
so
God.
fast.
I believe that.
And now I feel like I'm like, people are like, you're a whole nother different person. Like you are, but you aren't. I was like, yeah, because my like every light is turned on.
Right.
Like I'm like a fully functioning human being. There's nothing's holding my back. Nobody's holding me back. I'm not letting anybody hold me back. So. Right. But those limiting beliefs, like they can be powerful. The stories that you hear and you believe it until you learn to take it off. And it takes a lot of work to let that all go and learn how to take it off, because a lot of people don't even know how to. They're like, how do I just stuck to me? There was just a lot of that growing up. And then I went to college and graduated, and I thought that would solve every problem. Nothing ever solves your problems, guys. I can't be as literally about the subconscious of one being forced. I think subconsciously my mind was trying to speak towards like some really real things in the moment, but also having been brought up in like the Jewish community, and there's nothing wrong with being Jewish, but in the way that we teach religion is a huge problem. And so like it needs to evolve. And so I felt very forced, and like it's like the lyrics are like, put me in a box and tie me with a ribbon, throw a dress on me, and drink until the room is spinning. Yes. It's like, that's like every time I hear that line, I didn't even know what it was about. I was just letting it flow out of my mouth when I wrote it. But it's like literally about like being fit into a box and to conform with society or whatever someone puts on you, and then drink until the room is spinning. During Jewish holidays, people literally drink until the room is spinning.
That's crazy.
Like,
I mean,
they like people put people on their shoulders, and it's crazy.
So it's an actual wow.
It's like, and there's nothing wrong with those things, but it's just like I think there were parts of my mind just like I was just channeling some stuff and putting it out there, and then it was about, you know, society and women. It's just like, why do we play this game? And like, and then we just like, without questioning, we just like succumb to it. And then I was just like, well, what if I didn't do that, you know?
Right.
And then not being commodity, you know, I can't be what you want to see.
Right.
Just a commodity with no soul. Like,
right.
Yeah. So all that, you know, I think a lot of that came from just society, you know, whatever I had channeled subconsciously from growing up to like maybe my, you know, the controlling relationship I was in at the time, that maybe something in my subconscious was trying to speak for me through that song and I wasn't aware of it fully. Or just whatever limiting beliefs were holding me back in my brain. Like, it's a combination, you know?
Yeah.
We're attracted to wherever our mental health is at the moment and what we believe that we deserve in the moment, you know? So, or where we are with ourselves, you know?
Right.
So it's just like a combination of all of that, of why we're attracted to those things. And so, yeah, it's not saying it's our fault, but like sometimes it's just like, that's why you're pulled towards it.
Yeah.
Because if
familiarity,
you're not,
or whatever.
that too. Yeah. So, so there was that. And so how that ties into all the things that I've been through. And then after that, you know, I went to, we were talking about this place that we worked, and and so I worked my butt off around that time. I had raised money for the album, and then I wasn't paid by the company, and like someone like just took the money or whatever. And
my God, I forgot about that.
So that's what brought me into the job that we were doing, is because like I had to make up for that money. I never got paid it. Some people were able to pull out their funds, but not everybody. So so I, you know, you just do the best you can and just make up for the funny, because I wanted to keep it going and deliver to the fans. And this was when I was putting, again, people before myself. And, you know. And
I'm so proud you didn't give up on that. Like, all those little, you know, road bumps, you still were like, no, this is going to happen.
Yeah. I was so frustrated, though. It was so hard. And I never put out an album before. I didn't realize it's that hard to put it out, because it's a lot of content.
Mm-hmm.
And also just learning it. Going back now, if I did another one, it would be a lot easier and smoother, and I would plan it better and give myself more time, because it took, let's see, I started writing in 2018. It took like 2 years.
Okay.
That's actually kind of short. Some people take 4 years for an album. Some people take more.
Yeah.
2 to 3 is kind of the happy. I was trying to like be like, well, I want to level up and you know, household names and labels. Not that labels are everything. They're absolutely not. But I want to set my standards high, because that's like the high standard, you know, is like how the timetable of how they put it out on the label. Not saying that they are like the cream of the crop, but like that has been like the thing. And so, you know, it's interesting because creativity isn't really something that, like I said, you can force, but also there is some organization that is involved when there is a business aspect to it. So it's a balance. But yeah, so I went through that, and then I was just gigging so much, and I wasn't feeling good, and I thought like, oh, maybe my allergies are back. I had the allergy immunization. I went to so my doctors first sent me to an allergist and an ENT. The allergist put me on a bunch of drugs that were not good for vocalists, very drying. They said that I wasn't even responding to the allergy test, which means that I wasn't really having symptoms, because I was quote unquote immune to allergies because I had it. So we didn't know what it was, and like, it did help a little bit, because I was just feeling a lot of facial pain, and I think I was just stressed and tired, and so the drugs were somehow helping with that.
Right.
But they weren't good for me.
You.
There was there was like blood thinning, like because of the ibuprofen, and then there was like Mucinex, which is drying, and then so I was taking so many things, and I guess I was feeling a little bit better, but I think it was just numbing the symptoms, but it just didn't feel right, and then also my throat was tired, all this stuff, and so I was sent to another ENT. who like wasn't just not a good doctor, and I didn't feel like I was cared for at all, because that's just unfortunately the system that happens. And so then I said to my doctor, like, I know I need a different ENT specialist. That they literally didn't care. I felt, and I also was having, I have like issues with smelling. I haven't been able to smell very well since like college. I think probably from like sinus and allergies, it just killed it. And that happens sometimes. So I thought maybe if I go to ENT, you'll fix me and I won't be broken anymore.
Right.
So anyway, so they finally sent me to the right ENT. And by that point, I had some sort of a thing where I felt something sort of pop in my throat. And probably a little bit of like lack of maintenance, and also just working so hard, and those drugs was just the perfect storm.
Oh no.
I go to like the ENT and he says like, hey, I'd love to look down your throat. And he's a laryngologist, which is a specialist of the voice. And so he goes down my throat and he said, hey, your vocal cords are in pretty bad shape. I need you to stop talking now. You have hemorrhaging, which means there's a bursted blood vessel, like bleeding in the throat. And then you have a developing polyp, which is a blood blister. It's not always blood, but like a blister on the cord. And so I was like, okay. And it was just Christmas time. So there was that happened. And so I stopped talking for 2 weeks. I couldn't make any noise. When I was like laughing, I had to like try and not make noise. It was hard. I was like, I don't know, it's just breathing instead.
2 weeks, y'all. That is crazy.
It was crazy. And so it didn't go away. And I tried everything to just try and heal it, and nothing was helping. And I was able to live with it for a while, and the pandemic hit during that time, and isolation and not seeing anybody, because it was just like I didn't know what happened to my voice if I got COVID. And also the thought of getting COVID just sounded awful, so I don't want it in general. So I was definitely one of the people who like wiped down their packages.
Oh yeah,
I washed my hands so much. I touched the table. I'm like, wait, germs? My hands were like bleeding. It was like not good, but we all reacted differently.
Oh yeah,
we were all scared. Some people were like fuck this noise, I'm gonna do what I want. That was fear. That's still reacting to fear. When you're like, oh, I'm not gonna let it control me.
Yeah, I'm
gonna go do what I want. But you are still scared, because it's not normal to function in this way.
No, absolutely. That was actually gonna be what one of my next questions were. It was about your vocal surgery.
Yeah. So I was like just saying, let me just smush it all in a thing.
No, take your time, do your thing.
It's just, I mean, there's so much more like trauma and stuff I could get into between like sexual abuse, emotional abuse, but I'm not gonna like go therapy, and also it's just heavy. I don't want to go back there. I did it already.
Yeah.
So which is okay. I've already been through it. I've talked about it in therapy. I've processed it enough times. I don't need it.
You don't need to beat a dead horse. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes. So anyway, like I lived with it for a while. It was fine. My voice sounded great. I would just get tired and it was painful. And then it got bigger over time. And then I went to the doctor again, and I was like, hey, should we just, should I just have the surgery? And I had therapy. I've done vocal therapy, all this stuff. He said probably. So we did it mid-pandemic, 2020. And I wrote the song Silence right before the pandemic, when I had just gotten it, the injury. So it became a thing. Silence, the fully produced version, retracking it right now. Yeah. Because I want to own the master, and the previous producer, I realized I was misadvised and gave the master away, and I was like, I didn't feel good about it, and I tried to renegotiate, it didn't work, and so I talked to an entertainment lawyer, and he said that it would be better to just re-record. It's going to be like less time and money, to even fight it. And there's like, who knows, like, even though their contract was like, not good, not even a good contract, like it would just, he was just saying it just wouldn't be worth to fight in that way. So retracking it. And then the stripped down version I released in November, and there's like video and stuff, and my two friends sang harmonies on it, and
fun.
But yeah, it's a super special song. It just taught me that this whole silence and oppressiveness is so much more than just the song that I wrote, but this song can speak to just so many people.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think. So yeah, that's kind of where I am caught up. And while I was going through all that, I started EMDR therapy, like I said, for the subconscious. So I literally healed my brain.
Good.
I just, because I had no control over all the crap that was happening to me. So I was like, what can I do instead? This is crappy. So like, what? Yeah. I can't control that, but what can I control? And like, so I can like make it through it. And I learned a lot of resilience through just everything I went through during that time. Like my body, finally, my nervous system is calming down. There's still moments where I'm just, it's hard. But I feel like, I'm miles away from where I was, even just 4 months ago.
And like, what was going through your mind when they told you, like, you're going to have surgery, or you probably have surgery? Like, did you have that moment of, I mean, like your song suggests, like, am I ever going to be able to sing again or even talk?
Yeah.
Like, what was going through your mind?
Well, it was just like, is my voice going to change? Is it going to sound the same? Is it going to sound different? Like, am I going to survive the surgery? I mean, obviously I had good odds. I'm in good health, but like still there, like anything can happen, blood clots. So many things that can happen when you're under the, asleep and under like, the knife, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't really a knife, but yeah. It was like literally going down my throat with a knife. Can you imagine that?
Oh my God.
But yeah, there were just so many things, and like being isolated in a pandemic, and then also having a very emotionally unavailable partner who clearly didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
But like was there. And like, it's weird when they're emotionally unavailable, you want them to be there so much more that you kind of become clingy. Mm-hmm. Even though you're not clingy, because you're just grabbing whatever you can to hold on to the love that you want, but they're not giving you. It's hard because it's like, I didn't deserve any of that. And like, it was difficult. And then when you rehabilitate, you can't talk for another 2 weeks after the surgery. And then it's weird talking when you're done because your voice is still healing, so you can't really talk, and then it's also sore, and you can't cough, nothing like that. And so I literally, shout out to Amy Chapman, voice therapist and voice teacher. She helped me rehabilitate. So you start from talking. So she teaches you how to talk again, and we do certain exercises, and then we do singing too. So I literally sang and talked from the moment I started talking again.
That's wild.
But it's in very small increments, and there's like certain exercises, and you can only talk like once every hour for 5 minutes for a week. And then you slowly build over time until I could finally fully talk again. And she said, and it takes like a good 6 months for me. And it's actually painful to like, because you're retraining your voice. It's a new voice. Mm-hmm. You're retraining your voice how to vibrate and work together again. And so it takes really a full year to fully heal inside and out. And so I chose to like just keep isolating and not really see anybody unless they were super clean, and hadn't really been around people or they're tested all the time, because again, I didn't want to fuck with anything. And there's just the anxiety of the unknown of the pandemic and all that stuff. So, it was definitely not my highest time of self. I definitely was not like behaving as my highest self. I did the best that I could, but I was anxious as fuck, and like,
right. I can imagine.
Yeah. So like, so it was difficult, but yeah. So 6 months, that's when I started to feel a decent amount of resilience. It wasn't 100%, but it was like, I would say like, the stamina was definitely, sorry, not resilience. Yes, resilience, but stamina was definitely there. 6 months. That was when and then I started streaming on Twitch, like, or I should say again, or for real, because I didn't, with the injury, I would try to do it, but it was hard. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't really until 2021, like October, November, and I would only go for an hour because it was a lot. And I slowly increased the time to 3 hours, but it was hard. And like, I would take breaks in between, and sometimes I'd talk or play a video, but I slowly increased it over time to 3 hours. 3 hours is still a lot of voice time, but yeah, so it was quite the process, and it felt very long. I felt like I was never going to get out of it. So anytime I'm in like a very vulnerable situation, and I just feel, very like in the unknown. I don't know how this is going to end. I'm scared, but I care about this, like, anything like that. Like I go through that emotional state again, no matter what it is. And so, yeah.
Do you think that your voice came out stronger and came out even smoother? Like, do you think you're happy with the result afterwards?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
I highly recommend the surgery if you absolutely need it. Don't get it if you don't need it, but I needed it. So I could have lived with it, but I was so tired and drained. But yeah, no, I highly recommend it. I learned like some new tools, and it validated other tools that I already had. I met my next voice teacher. I've had some really great teachers, but this one I've stuck with, for a bit now, and she's been really great. So I'm grateful with the results, even though it was like a painful learning lesson. So it's a very common thing. We just don't talk about it, but it happens to so many singers, in the industry, whether they strain their voice or they need surgery, or like Imagine Dragons, he had to go on like vocal rest for 2 weeks too. Like Justin Timberlake had like nodes at one point, which is a totally different thing. It's like callus. I don't think he had surgery, but he also had to take a break. It's just
I would say most notably recently, like Meghan Trainor. I've heard of that one.
She studied with the same voice teacher and therapist as me.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah,
okay.
And she's had it twice. But
wow.
Yeah,
twice.
It's rare. It's rare, but like it can happen. Like Adele had it twice. So like.
Oh my God, Adele, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, so many.
Yeah, so it's very common. It's just, but I felt so much shame when I found out. I felt so much shame
but you had an answer at least.
And like. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Do you think we could hear a little bit of silence, or do you think that's
the fully produced version,
or like any sort of little?
I'll play the strip down.
Ooh.
I just don't want to. I don't know when this is coming out. But,
right. Yes.
Let's see. Let me go to my YouTube.
Hell yeah.
So the stripped down version you can listen to now, and there's a video as well. It was recorded live in the moment. I wanted it to be like a podcast.
Yes.
So
no, it's sweet.
I'll just play it on my phone. Sorry, that was not the beginning.
Good.
But okay.
Haven't said a word in a minute or so. Didn't think I'd be feeling this low. There are so many things circling around my mind. There lay sadness and tears in my eyes. We'll see again when my voice survives. Is this the end? Just a flash time. We'll sing again. We'll sing again. Oh, no one knows.
Yeah, so that was played off of my phone. So
I know, and it
hopefully
still sounds so.
sounded-
It actually sounds so damn good though. Like even
Yeah.
just with all these different layers of.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it. You just have so many good ones coming out. Like
I know.
what was the next one coming
in?
in the summer that you said that you?
This is called Today. It's about being in limbo.
Yes, yep. And then you recently did a little tiny desk
Yeah.
contest, right?
So We Become Whole is a song that I wrote right after like leaving the relationship that I was in that was like 5.5 years, realizing it was really unhealthy. Also simultaneously, again, being on the side of healing that childhood stuff, because it was starting to like be towards the end of it. So at this point I had worked through all the childhood stuff, and I was still staying in therapy just to get some help with like that breakup, because it was hard. I was like a divorce without going to court, so that was
Christ.
It was not good. But yeah, and so We Become Whole, I started the idea of We Become Whole, the chorus for the 30-day song challenge on TikTok. You can actually go hear the original. It's actually in a different key. I realized the other day it's like half a step up, but which is fine. Things happen when you're writing, and it was just an idea that someone gave me to write for TikTok from Twitch, because we would have songwriting days.
That's so fun.
And so I was like, what do we want to write a song about today? And so they throw ideas at me, and then I take whatever I can resonate with. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go do that. So I'll write part of it on stream, and then I would write the rest of it off stream and then present it later. Sometimes the whole thing would fall out, but it was more of a surprise. So I came up with the hook, or the chorus as you would call it, and then I would paste that on put that on TikTok. And so it took a while, and then I came back to that idea after I ended that relationship and been through grieving all that childhood trauma and worked through that in therapy. And so I went to the like a studio writing session and then fleshed out the verses, and it just came from a very in the moment place of realizing where I had been and where I am now and where I'm gonna go.
Nice.
And so it's about taking off that, we were talking about programming, like taking off those roles that we were handed and thought that that's what we were, when they're not our identity at all, and we don't have to do that at all. This just takes some strength and some bravery to say, like, no more of that. I don't do that anymore. And so We Become Whole is kind of about that. I made same thing like Silence, same studio setup, did a recording of the voice and of the song and the video, and submitted it to Tiny Desk contest. I don't know, if anything will happen. I mean, maybe by the time you're hearing this, maybe things have happened.
Yeah.
But if I get it, I get to perform at the home base of NPR's Tiny Desk, like in DC, and then there's like a tour that you do, and like it can do a lot for your career, a lot of amazing things.
Wait, that's in DC? I never knew that.
Yeah, I know, me neither. So if I go, it'll be great.
Hell yes.
And yeah, so you can watch that video on YouTube for We Become Whole, and then the song itself, a stripped down version, is coming out at the end of the month on the 31st. So
fantastic. You've got so
March
much in the
31st.
works. This
So
is so
much.
good. Thank you for having me come along on the ride too, girl, and coming on the podcast
it's my
and shit.
pleasure. Thanks
Oh
for
my
having
gosh.
me.
But honestly, yeah, we could talk forever. Let's be real.
Forever.
But I just want to, I would just do want to make sure that I do say everything right. Like, you are on Twitch, you're on Discord, you're on all these socials.
TikTok, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
YouTube, Patreon. I have a website.
I gotta get better at TikTok. You're so good at TikTok. And the little captions. I'm like,
getting better
Sarah,
at
help
it.
me.
I'm not every day, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Every time I'm on, I like see something of yours, and I'm like, yes, girl, she's getting it.
Yeah.
How do you keep up with everything?
I don't know. It's really hard, honestly.
I believe it.
I can't wait till I'm able to have like a team to help me, because like content is just it's hard.
That's what people expect now.
We're not created. We're not. What's the word? We're not like made to put out as much content as we are right now, but we're in a very content driven period. And part of me really doesn't like it, but part of me is like, you know what? It's also cool because we're just experimenting and trying stuff.
Right.
So it's like a love-hate thing, but it's all habits, The problem is like I feel like I have no life sometimes because I'm constantly creating content.
Right.
So
no, yeah. I get it, girl. And I'm proud of you for being able to keep it all up. And you've got a new management team. You've got a...
Nope.
No?
I fired my manager last
So you
year.
have no manager.
Team.
No manager.
I am single.
She's single in so many ways. And then...
So many ways.
Yes, but you said you...
I hired a marketing team.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
to
that's
help
gonna
me
be
move
important.
to help me really get my stuff off the ground and just help teach me the tools, but also help my numbers.
Okay.
Because like literally, you can have the best songs, but if no one knows you exist,
right, and it's hard.
Not even if everyone's sharing with their friends, that's still not enough.
Right. No, it's true.
Even if we're all 6 degrees of separation, so this will help me build my numbers and get a booking agent and get better management and so all that.
Right. And if anybody does want to book Sarah, she is available.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sarah-Lightman.com, correct?
Yes. And if you go to my website and you go to like my EPK, or if you go to my booking page, if it's a private event, if you want for your wedding or something like that, you just follow, you can go through the forms or send me a direct email.
Another Taylor Swift proposal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I love it.
Or if you want a different artist, that's fine too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're great, babe. But honestly, thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely.
You're fantastic. And everybody, please make sure to follow Sarah on all those socials. She's got a great Twitch community. You can go and join it.
Yes. We have
Patreon.
fun. We throw cupcakes.
You throw cupcakes.
Seriously, if someone's having a bad day, in the chat there are cupcake emotes, which are like emojis, but they're made by me, my community. So
That's
like,
adorable.
Yeah, so they'll throw you a cupcake and a hug.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Become part of the Lighthouse, guys.
Yeah.
And definitely go listen to all of her fantastic songs on all the streaming platforms.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So many good ones coming up. And definitely keep up with me and the Unwomanly podcast by following at Unwomanly Podcast on Instagram. Go and get my merch. Go and get her merch. So much merch.
All the merch.
Oh, I love it. I'm going to go grab some too, guys. Don't you worry. But thank you so much for listening. I can't wait to see you guys next time here on Unwomanly.